briefly tell us about yourself.
No, awesome. Thank you for having me. So very briefly, I'm Behrin. I'm originally South African, been involved in the finance and technology space for quite a number of years. I in the blockchain space right now, and I think being South African has been one of the reasons why I've been so passionate about it, because I've seen the way it can revolutionize financial sector and help make the world a more fair playing ground. Originally, before I started off at Fyde, the current company I'm working at now, um, I met my like-minded founders at London Business School, where we realized that we needed to make a more real solution for all crypto projects in the space, so they're able to be more sustainable and scalable. Outside of crypto and finance, I guess I love exploring other cultures, traveling new places, running a lot, and playing sport. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, interesting. How did your journey to blockchain begin? Can you take us down memory lane how it all started?
Yeah, in crypto, like 1 year is 7 years normal life, right? So originally, my blockchain journey, I think, started when Bitcoin was very, very new. The decentralized concept blew my mind, but I only really became a believer, I'd say, in blockchain's capability after diving into Ethereum and largely around the adaptability and scalability of infrastructure there and other projects to be built upon another type of platform. And I guess from that curiosity, at that point, I was still in traditional finance, working at JP Morgan at the time, but I realized the use case for traditional banks, insurers, asset managers, and how it could change financial services going forward.
One of the focal points in blockchain is security, security of digital asset. And today it is often said that um, cyber security is in blockchain technology is a $4 billion problem. So
Mm.
and then you've had cases of treasury mismanagement, scams, and what have you. And these put together have dented the image of the crypto industry, and it's kind of triggered the fear that most people have today. So, I'd like you to tell us about how treasury management became such an important component of DeFi.
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed up a lot of issues that we've seen in the space, especially around news articles, a lot of bigger players, mishaps, fraud in most cases, actually, to be honest, and seeing where the need was for the project. So I think if you take the lens back a few years, the ICO boom started when Ethereum really got adopted, and a lot of VCs came into the place, a lot of centralized players as well. So whether they were VCs, also backing centralized exchanges, market makers that really run a lot of the ecosystem around token sales, issuing, etc. But nobody could really see the transparency around these type of transactions. So although they would say it's blockchain, they really weren't using blockchain capability. So I think right now what we've seen around treasury management, why it's this important. It first started off, I guess, last year when you had a few of the major hedge funds in the space going bankrupt because they had been commingling funds as well as running a lot of risk off chain. When I say off chain, it's not on the blockchain, so you can't actually see the transparency around it. A similar case happened around FTX, but I think we've all been around that and followed those news articles. But what's DeFi really become important right now, especially around the treasury management side of it, is because I think in the last few years, we were in the last bull run. And in that case, many tokens didn't really care about risk management around token pricing and sustainability. Because as soon as the token price went down, in the next few months, it probably went up. That's literally the nature of the market at the moment. So why is treasury management super important? And we've seen this become a very niche type of thing that's really starting to explode. A lot of other projects trying to offer this, as well as other type of players such as banks, asset managers, institutions also trying to offer this. But it's actually more about ensuring optimal utilization of resources. So if you look at a crypto project right now, it's very different to a traditional finance or traditional company in the sense that a lot of the investments in the project is raised in their native crypto token, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or stablecoin. But the issue here is that although treasuries may gain a lot of exposure and have a lot of mass market adoption, For instance, if you look at Uniswap right now, at the peak, they had $10 billion worth of treasury in their Uniswap tokens. Now it's currently about closer to $2 billion. If you actually had to sell that Uniswap native token to pay for really good things that you mentioned that is needed, auditing, smart contract development, risk management frameworks, as well as any type of operational hurdles going forward, you'd see a massive slippage because of lack of liquidity in the token price right there. So right now, treasuries need to be managed more of a traditional finance institutional grade. And that's where we come in, where we are working on offering treasuries a way to diversify their treasury management. So you're not holding everything into one native token that is just symmetrically related to the risk of an individual project, as well as you're allowed to diversify across different types of assets in the space, such as real world assets like corporate bonds that are being put in onto the chain right now, as well as looking at things that you would need to get, such as yield, as well as liquidity risk. So in the sense that if you create this amazing type of protocol where this vehicle is a lot more liquid than the underlying token, you're able to provide around that solution.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's a very good one, as a matter of fact. Okay, so quickly, let's move on to the next question. I'd like to really center this question around Fyde. And as a co-founder of Fyde, what would you tell us about its founding? How did it come about?
Yeah, so Fyde, largely, I think I had left traditional finance in the point. I was at a VC before this. Went to London Business School, co-founded the blockchain, LBS Blockchain Society there, where we partnered with some of the other UK institutions as well as global universities now. But the cool part of Fyde was that we were trying to figure out real world solutions and sustainability for the crypto space, and treasury management was lacking. So I fortunately found my co-founders at the time at school. And from there and through our network, we managed to bring across a really good team of developers that have been at some of the better protocols, bigger institutions around the world, as well as a team of academics and PhDs from such as Stanford, UCLA, Oxford, etc. How we found it was because we realized with the LBS Blockchain Society, there's other type of schools such as Harvard right now, or Wharton, for instance, where they have been creating a DAO, and a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization in the space. But with these DAOs that have been run out of the school, they've been able to attract endowment type of funding for the school. So we built out the LBS DAO at that point, and one of my co-founders literally said, now that we bring in capital for the school and sustainability of the society, how do you actually manage these assets on chain? And the funny part is that there's literally billions that have been in the space. I think at that point, the crypto market was probably around $2 trillion, but there's no actual legitimate treasury management solutions. There's things where you are able to sell your tokens, but then you take massive selling pressure. There's things where you are allowed to stake your tokens, offer a yield, but also you're losing tokens and governance around it. And the third one is like you may be able to just use an outside service provider to allow you to work over the market around it. But no one has really combined all four needed aspects of treasury management to one protocol. And then we realized this is what's actually needed for the scalability of the space, a really good treasury management solution. And we've been doing that journey for the last few years.
Interesting. Okay, so how does Fyde ensure the transparency and security of treasury management? How does it work?
Yeah,
In other
very,
words.
very true. Yeah, I mean, so for our solution right now, you have to look at it versus a centralized solution and versus using a VC or market maker such as in traditional finance. We are completely on chain. We're completely transparent. A user that uses it has self custody of all the tokens. We don't actually take anybody's tokens and create them off chain into our own vehicles or able to commingle funds, etc. You'd be able to see everything on the blockchain, everything through smart contracts. How do we like allow efficiency and security around it? I mean, at the moment we run multiple code audits. So what you'd also find is in the space you actually need to have a project audited from outside external code auditors. There's multiple service providers, but I'd say there's probably only 3 to 5 that are really top notch and are really security driven, and you haven't seen many hacks or any type of issues around there. So we've employed out of those 5, and they've been run code orders quite regularly on any type of updates that we do, as well as we are employing risk management assessment using some of our own frameworks that we built out, as well as working with other protocols that only target risk management, looking at certain things that are risk factors in the space. But
Okay,
efficiency,
interesting. Okay.
security is the
Yeah.
most important thing. I agree.
Yeah, sure. I completely agree with you. So now the thing is, I'd like to know how Fyde compares with its competitors. You know, you have treasury management companies like Gnosis Safe, formerly called Gnosis Safe, but it's called Safe right
Yeah.
now. So I'd like to know how, you know, in terms of its strengths and its potential, how does it compare to, okay, some of the industry leading companies?
Yeah, so Gnosis is a great company that allows you to, yeah, keep your tokens in an outside vault ledger and manage that. I think Fyde takes it to another level. It's creating a solution where you could partner with Gnosis. So partner with Gnosis, partner with MetaMask, or whatever type of custodian you use as your wallet. Basically, you'd be able to use those tokens, and if you wanted any type of diversified return or exposure, as well as making sure your tokens are being better risk management, you'd launch into the Fyde protocol. So you just plug in the API and you deposit straight in. We don't actually take custody, it can remain with Gnosis, can remain with whichever type of provider that you want to use. So Fyde actually is bringing in and bridging that gap between traditional finance and DeFi risk management and portfolio management strategies that actually haven't been run or created in the DeFi space so far. There's other type of protocols where you are able to take your token and go and deposit them into those protocols and you earn like staking rewards, for instance. But once you do that, you're just earning a staking reward. It doesn't actually solve the diversification need and the portfolio management need or risk management
Yeah.
side of it. There's also other parts where you may go to a competitor, may not even be DeFi for us. It could be an over-the-counter market maker. So if you're a project and you need to sell $3 million worth of your tokens, you go into them, but they'll give you a massive discount to actually create that liquidity around you. So you see VCs doing that as well. With us, you would not be able to do any of that. The discounts we're running with simulations now are much smaller, about 2 to 3% on the books. So it's actually closer to liquidity, working across the entire ecosystem. We're working with Chainlink Labs, for instance, around our oracles right now. So we'll have the best pricing across the entire DeFi and CeFi space, every single like up-to-date real time.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so from the treasury management standpoint, like you would be quick to describe the FTX scandal as, you know, a problem, a fundamental problem of, you know, management. It was a bad management there. So, and
Yeah.
now I'd like to really understand the lesson that it taught the treasury management industry.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, I think there's probably many lessons, but it was an eye-opener in the sense that FTX was the darling child, I guess, from the institutional support,
Yeah.
not just from the crypto angle. But it underscores the importance of having robust risk management and compliance procedures, as well as being fully transparent around, I guess, where the assets are sitting, what's actually happening with the trading, what's actually happening around on the blockchain. And this wasn't happening with the way they commingle funds and took things off chain and use those. I mean, it's also showed the need and literally created, and rightfully so, the new wave of regulatory compliance we need for a lot of actors out there, because it's quite an evolving digital space we're in, and we need to make sure the right projects are being run by the right teams, or at least have the right internal controls in place. And that was completely evident that it was lacking there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Indeed, I agree with you. Okay, so now I'd like to know how Fyde helps crypto projects manage their assets. Is diversification a fundamental strategy that you basically look at? I want to believe is one of the strategies, but I want to say, okay, diversification is one important aspect when it comes to treasury management. So I'd like you to,
Yeah,
you know, shed light
of
on
course.
that.
Yeah, no, happy to do. I think you're 100% right. Diversification is key, and that's where we are targeting one of our elements. But I think with Fyde, you could diversify by just buying your own assets, to be honest. You could also diversify by buying an ETF that's out there in the market. But that doesn't solve your entire treasury management requirement around it. So diversification is a key part of our strategy, but we also provide a way to maximize, I guess, your off-ramping into other type of stable coins by providing liquidity by using these new innovations like innovations called protocol-owned liquidity. That's, I think, will revolutionize the DeFi space, as well as providing our own yield optimization. So you're able to earn while you're diversifying, which actually hasn't been done so far, and while still keeping custody of your governance rights. So the problem is also like protocols, they're akin to DAO, for instance, right? If you're a bad actor in the space, you may accumulate those tokens, and it could be in various type of forms, and then you can actually decide what you want to do with the future of the DAO and the protocol and just changes. Like we allow you to still keep that, and I think that's super important in treasury management in our type of space.
Interesting. Okay, so I'd like you to share your personal experience working with Fyde. Like, how has it been so far?
I think it's been like probably one of the best time of my life, to be honest, professionally. I mean, I've worked across multiple institutions and some of the bigger companies around in different roles in traditional finance. But building a project that's probably going to revolutionize and hopefully what we have right now with the team around us, it's just been exhilarating. Like you are excited to wake up every day, excited to go to bed knowing or thinking about what you're building and what you're doing the next day. But saying that, I never had gray hair before this, right? And that's crypto. So it's a tough industry, but it's been
Yes,
amazing knowing that you're creating something that can revolutionize and bring scalability and sustainability to projects that are trying to be legit in the current environment.
indeed. Sure. Okay, so on a final note, what piece of advice do you have for people who want to follow in your footsteps?
I think, man, similar to what are you doing? You're doing great stuff and great work in your reason, and a good evidence of what's out there. I mean, similar. I think we all can come from different walks of life. We can all come from different types of professional backgrounds. Web3, especially crypto and especially DeFi, for instance, right now, there's a lot to learn. So you just have to keep learning. And it doesn't matter who you were before, what your background was before, but there's always something you are able to do. And there's always a lot of people in the space that are willing to help. So just keep learning, keep like trying to be passionate about it if it's something that you really enjoy. And like it should happen, as well as reach out to as many people as you can, because a lot of people are open to helping, learning about it. Like I am definitely.
Interesting, Mr. Barron. It was great to have you on the show. One more thing, I'd like you to, tell the readers how to get in touch with you, perhaps to follow you on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Or I'd like you to kind of, tell us how to connect directly
Sure.
with you.
Yeah, I mean, with me personally, you can connect to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Just Behrin Naidoo at LinkedIn. And Twitter is Behrin at Behrin N, as well as on Telegram at Behrin. So great to connect. I mean, the company website, you could also drop us an email. It's fyde.fi, and the email will be mgmt@fyde.fi.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Mr. Barron. And I want to especially thank you for your time. And I hope to talk to you some other time in the future.
Thank you very much.
You have
Well,
a nice day. Bye bye.
cheers. You too. Bye.
Yeah, bye.